right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still The Break Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. Now it's time for Trend Watch, where we take you through things that are buzzing on social media. And I still have with me in the studio this morning, Luayemi Adelako.
And I'm glad to be back here. Well done.
Welcome back.
Yes, so what we are looking at for Trend Watch is that Tinubu's call for Jonathan's resignation was legitimate. That's coming from Bwala, and I think that's talking about the Chibok girls that were abducted that time. And then according to him, I'd love to read, some of the things that he said, for the purpose of context. He said that he has justified his principal's call for former President Goodluck Jonathan resignation. That was in 2014, because at that time, I think President Bola Tinubu called for his resignation because of the abduction of those girls. And then he spoke on Wednesday, that was yesterday, during an interview, and said that Tinubu's call at the time was legitimate, given the severity of the incident and the government's initial response. He said in the days of Jonathan, they didn't have an idea of the solution. Why did I say that? They were in denial about the Chibok girls kidnapping when President Tinubu, then Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, called for Jonathan's resignation. It was a legitimate call, he said. So I'm trying to understand the reason why he thinks, him calling for the resignation of Jonathan then was legitimate, and the Nigerians calling for the resignation of Bola Tinubu now is not legitimate. Because if anything, I think insecurity has worsened. I mean, apart from that Chibok girls, I think a lot of girls across schools have been kidnapped, recently. So it's a little bit difficult to unpack now, because I mean, I understand the fact that that's his job. He's expected to say certain things because he's working for the current administration. But then, can we speak to fact in this instance, really? You
see, it's quite unfortunate that sometimes when you are saddled with the responsibility of defending what is not defendable, then sometimes you sound to yourself, and then when you listen again, it might really be difficult to understand yourself when you speak. Yeah. You see, it's a challenge that Bwala has to do this job. It's an Herculean task given to him to defend what is not defendable. When Jonathan was president, yes, there were kidnaps in Chibok or some other places. And then during the regime of late former President Muhammadu Buhari, there were kidnaps too. And the administration of Bola Tinubu is also not different. We have seen a lot of series of kidnaps, especially in the last 1 month. So it's difficult for him to defend what is not defendable. You see, the challenge is anyone can come out and say, for this reason, the president should resign. We have seen it happen in so many countries. In this, I don't want to say sinner climbs, in developed countries, when there is a particular issue and the person at the helms of affairs or has been saddled with the responsibilities to carry out a job feels that he has failed in one way or the other. Nobody has to tell him or her to resign. We have seen it happen over and over again, where we have seen prime ministers in the UK resign and say, look, I think at this stage, I cannot go on. And then they leave their post, and then someone else comes on board. Someone else who feels that he or she has what it takes to lead or to get it done. You see, it's now a problem that I think I've said this over and over again. The APC administration in the last 10 years, one thing they have failed to do is to communicate. And when they communicate, you would want to read over and over again to understand what it is all about. The only time we had clear communication with the APC was when Ajuri Ngilale had to work with the presidency. One way or the other, I was able to push some narrative out there that so many people really did not know was even happening. But since then, we have had people who would rather talk politics than talk topical issues. And that for me is, because for me now, it's becoming more and more of a politics. So I bring back the issue of Goodluck Jonathan, who is peacefully having a rest in his home in Otoke, in Bayelsa State, and then you are talking about an administration that people are talking about how they have failed in terms of insecurity. And we have seen the strategic moves being made. We have seen the giant strides being achieved by the president on who is going to head a particular place. We spoke about ambassadors nominated for some of the strategic countries and career diplomats in some countries, and how important France, the US, and the UK is to Nigeria, especially when it comes to how the people see you out there. And we spoke about who they were nominated for those places, and then it was fine. We also saw the confirmation of General Musa as the new Minister of Defense, which is a welcome development because he has the experience, 39 years in service. We are seeing the moves, but then politicizing any of these things, I think it is totally wrong. If you want to defend what is going on, I think there should be facts, and not just based on what you feel you can just give to the people out there.
Yes, and I also think you should explain what it means by this is legitimate, that is not legitimate. He also said something.
It's a very big question.
He said this current administration, frowns at negotiating with bandits or paying ransom. But then those students were released. Some were released, and then we didn't get to hear how they were released.
How they were released.
Up to now. But
Some
then
say-
you want to make us
I mean,
believe that, I mean, it's a
I
lot
think
to talk
Bayo
about.
Ononuga said, you know, they reached out to the bandits and out of fear that the federal government was going to attack or something, that they released the children.
But the bandits walked freely. They were not captured.
I mean, we've seen it happen. They hold meetings with, you know, councilmen and then, you know, they sign peace deals. I've not seen that happen anywhere else, but it has happened in Nigeria.
Okay.
But this will be the fine place to leave the show
Definitely.
this morning. We say thank you for joining us on the show so far. Do well to link up with us on all socials, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. Join us again tomorrow, same time, same station, same host. Of course, it's going to be Daybreak Live Extra, where the Three Musketeers will be on your screen all at the same time. Samson Balogun is my name. Until tomorrow, I say keep being good out there, keep being safe. Bye for now.
Well, thank you for being a part of the show. Just like I mentioned, join us tomorrow. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun. Please be safe.